Hello friends, thanks for checking out this week's marketing video. I'm wrapping up a 4-month LinkedIn training class for a bank here in Kansas City. And one of the things that came out of that is a profile on LinkedIn that I wanted to share with you because it really shows you how you can be yourself on LinkedIn. It's an excellent LinkedIn professional headline and about section. So if you give me a couple minutes, I'll walk you through that and maybe it'll give you some ideas for what you could do on your LinkedIn profile. So here is Michael McDonald's LinkedIn profile. Obviously, he works for CrossFirst Bank here in Kansas City. They have an amazing company culture, and it shows through in the people that they hire and what they're willing to put on their LinkedIn profiles because they're not trying to be straight-laced people. They're trying to be themselves on LinkedIn, and I think that's fantastic. So the first thing I would point out is his professional headline, where he says he's a portfolio manager at CrossFirst Bank. That's all he had before on his profile. So in our one-on-one, what we talked about is to put 2 or 3 business things and 2 or 3 personal things. So he went ahead and added leader in training and health enthusiast and a husky musher. If you don't know what a husky musher is, it's about the husky dogs. And the last thing he put that cracked me up was Sith Lord, question mark. And if you're not a follower of Star Wars, that might completely go over your head. But for any of you Star Wars fans out there, that's a hilariously funny thing to put in your professional headline. Obviously, Michael McDonald is a big Star Wars fan, and so am I, as you can see in this Lego Millennium Falcon that I have in my office. And right behind me, there's a Lego set of the child with the Mandalorian right there. So yes, we have that in common. Probably another reason why this profile resonated for me. Anyway, as I scroll down, what you can see is his About section. And remember that the About section is what people would see when they're wanting to get to know a little bit about you before they meet you for the first time, or if they got referred to you and they're trying to do research about you. What a great opportunity to let some of your personality show through in this About section. This is an underused section of LinkedIn profiles, and it's one of the most important things I hit in my LinkedIn training. So the first thing that you have to do when you're doing a good About section is you need to invite people in, because when you see it on LinkedIn, there's only a couple of sentences. The first couple of sentences show before there's a little see more link. People have to click to see the whole thing. So you want to be sure to invite them into your About section to read more. And that's what cracked me up about Michael's About section is he starts it with, "Welcome, you scruffy looking nerf herders." And that's a Han Solo line from Star Wars for any of you guys that know that. And I just thought it was hilarious that he's putting himself from the very get-go, he's putting himself out there a little bit. So then he goes on to say, "I've been working at CrossFirst Bank since 2017, but let me rewind a bit." So one of the things I encourage people to do is go back a little bit in their history of where did they come from? Where did they go to school maybe? Why did they end up working for this company? Why are they working in Kansas City? Whatever those stories might be are a good lead up to why you're currently doing what you're doing in your role. So he talks about the fact that he says, "My wife and I lived in St. Louis for 5 years. I followed her through med school and a residency, brought us back to Kansas City." And then he lucked into an opportunity with CrossFirst Bank as a senior commercial credit underwriter. So then he starts talking a little bit about CrossFirst and one of the very key things that CrossFirst does with all their employees, and it's not just lip service to this. This is an important part of their culture, and that's the whole Strengths Finder thing. And in our conversations when we were doing our one-on-one, he was saying, "Yeah, here are my strengths. It's on my name placard and it's everywhere. You know, that's an important thing for all the employees at the bank." So he goes on to say, "One of the many unique things about working at CrossFirst happens during your onboarding week when you take the Gallup's Strength Finder assessment. This is an important part of our culture as the results go on your email signature and get engraved on your desk name plate. Your strengths are a great way to learn what motivates and inspires you and how you can best work with your peers and even plays out in the way we serve our clients." So that caught my attention because I had noticed these in the email signature and I did not realize that they were different all the time until he said this, that this is an important part of each individual that works for the bank. And then he goes on to say that his top 5 strengths are achiever, communication, focus, strategic, and significance. which makes sense because I enjoy solving problems and getting shit done, which I think is hilarious that he was willing to. We actually talked back and forth. I said, are you sure you want to put that in your profile? And he's like, yeah, it's not a cocky thing. I just like getting stuff done. So I said, hey, that's your call. But I think that that's hilarious that you were putting that in there because it grabs your attention, right? And he does. After getting to know him a little bit through our training, he definitely likes to get things done. He was all over getting this about section written up the day we got done with our call. So that was great. And then he goes on and talks about his role at the company at CrossFirst. So he talks about as a portfolio manager, part of his job is developing new relationships, blah, 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 and the extraordinary service at the core of what this bank values. And I enjoy having the opportunity to exemplify that mantra every day at work. But enough about work. So this is that point where we transition into, you've told a little bit about why you're in the city, why you're at the company, what you do at the company, and now you talk a little bit about your personal life and what's going on in your personal life so you can be authentic and transparent with people from the very get-go. And I'll tell you, the stuff that you put in this part of your About section is probably one of the first things that'll come up in your first meeting with the person after they've done research about you. So he goes on to say, but enough about work. If you can't tell, I thoroughly enjoy any and all things Star Wars. My wife and I are excited to be back in Kansas City, and we've been enjoying our never-ending home renovation project as we set our own roots in the community. We have 2 Siberian Huskies, and while they are the absolute best, they definitely keep Roomba busy. So I think that's hilarious. That ties back to his professional headline that he's a Husky musher. And so that was cool that he put that in there. And then he goes on that he played soccer in college. That's impressive. And that his passion has since transitioned into being a sporting Kansas City fan that attends as many games as possible. So I think that's really cool that he's sharing a few things, right? He's talking about his love of Star Wars, his love of his dog, his love of working on his house. He was obviously a very good athlete in college and is a big soccer fan. And then he wraps things up, right? So that's the final thing that we talk about. After you've told some of your story, you want to wrap things up a little bit. So he goes on to say, I'm always looking to make meaningful connections with people. So if you're looking for a new banking partner or curious about the Gallup strength-based culture, or just want to talk about the Sporting KC win or the latest Star Wars show, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe, which is a quote from Jango Fett, another Star Wars reference. So when you wrap all of this up, it's such a great About section because it really gives you a sense of Michael. He's putting himself out there a little bit. It makes me want to know more when I read this. It also makes me laugh because I do have a big Star Wars thing just like he does. Not everybody's going to connect on that. Some people are going to maybe connect on the fact that he owns Huskies or whatever, but at least he's putting himself out there and giving people conversation starters, right? That's the whole point of this. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. This is one of the ones I've been wanting to do for a while that talks about how important your About section on your LinkedIn account is. A lot of people miss the opportunity. They put resume language in there or don't even have the section at all. So my encouragement to you is get this done. Write an About section. Also, make sure you do it in Word or a Google Doc so that you don't edit it in a web browser and hit save and it glitches out and you lose all your work. But my encouragement is to get this done, get your About section updated, and pour yourself into it. Be a real, authentic, interesting person on LinkedIn, and that's going to help you professionally and just networking with people in your community. If you liked the video, please act on that and like the video on YouTube and subscribe to my channel if you're willing. I'm doing these videos every week to try and help you guys out in all things marketing, technical tips, that kind of stuff, and even thought leadership through Brain Food. I hope you're having a great week. I'll see you next week.